Good evening, guys, and welcome to GRL Season 3 for GP1.1 of around 19 here at the beloved city, well, country of Mexico for the Mexican Grand Prix. Still, at the moment, it is a two-horse race between the top two of Dazzler and P1R, so anything can happen between those two drivers, as we'll be finding out for this Friday's session. Anyway, this is Phil, and I'm alongside with a good guest of mine, Owen.
Hello, everybody. So
Okay,
I had this dream, man. Leave me alone. Just got confirmed from the weather guy who's currently across the road. It's going to be a dry quality but a wet race. So this is going to be
So we're
interesting.
going to be using their... We could possibly be using their wet setup. Ooh, sorry about that. We're going to currently be using their wet setup on the dries.
Sorry for everybody for that incident. Phil accidentally at his mic.
No, I wasn't.
Well, you're just yawning, yeah, not like you normally do.
Yeah, I did.
Right, he was first because I thought he was first.
It is our debutant of Oscar Gamer.
Nice and smooth.
Currently in the Williams.
We had had some new drivers in the past who had run off on a brilliant start, so could he continue that trend? You never know.
Yeah, because we had Finn Doggy Dog getting... Finn Doggy Dog getting his first top 5 in Japan, and then following it off with a podium shortly after in the US last week.
Yeah. As we see, Gamer coming up to the first sector.
Follow the same trend.
A little bit of
So we also like to mention that if you want to ask us any questions, feel free to message Owen's gamer tag, and we'll try and answer them as best as possible as we can. As Oscar Gamer is now going to be approaching onto the S's.
Very difficult lessons. If you get one wrong, you're screwed up on the rest.
Oh, goes a little bit wide on the exit.
But looks like he kept it together.
Now onto the very difficult stadium section. Sharp right and then a quick left. Or a sharp left to a quick right.
Stays out on track.
Does a Gamer across the line.
116.2.
116.8. Yeah, 116.2. As Trix crosses the line, does a 114.2. But it was invalid.
And that was on
go
high
on
pace.
to Taylor.
Well, as we find out here,
Across the line, does a 115.4. Well, this is currently on the hypers.
Yeah.
Only 8 tenths separated.
Going to be on board with Dazzler as he's coming up to the first sector.
Currently the leader of the Drivers' Championship. He's getting some certain amount of pressure off of P1R Brown, who is closing that gap. In the past couple of races, P1R Brown is exceeding all expectations, but obviously because of what happened last week.
And Dazzler's stopped. Just doesn't continue in the lap.
Brown only managed to get himself third position, I think. As Trix improves and goes a second faster than Taylor with a 114.4.
A full second, actually.
A full second on the dot.
Yeah. And I
As we now
believe
see
it's
on Aaron Dazzler, as we go onto his telemetry, doing almost 215 miles an hour on the approach, coming up to the approach of turn 1.
I think turn 1 in this race is going to be...
Ooh, gets oversteer on the exit of turn 3 there.
Yeah, I think turn 1, I think the first 3 corners is going to be kind of a harsh one to get wrong. Considering it's such a long build up to it. You've got to break enough to go around it, but you've got cars probably on your left, on your right, and maybe behind you. Or in front of you. Depends on where you qualified. Is there something happening in sector 1, sector 2 and 3? I don't know. Well,
You see Aaron Dazzler goes, oh, super wide again on the exit of the S's. They are struggling for what looks like tailwind.
as
The
Doggy Dog
best
comes
section.
around the last corner. Going around the last corner, does a 114.3. 114.3.
Very good lap, and Aaron Dazzler's gone straight into the pits already.
I think next stop is P1 Brown.
Currently on the runner-up spot.
At the moment, we currently don't have any updates on the championship, as we're currently trying to get.
We will be. I think there will be able to be fixed soon.
Yep. Well, some good races for Brown. Well, if Brown gets points in the last 3 races, and Dazzler only gets points in 2, I think. P1 Brown might actually win the title, but either way, it's going to be
So if P1 Brown actually finishes the race as it crosses the line, does 1:13.5.
That Renault has power. It's proven it there.
8 tenths.
Well, on hypersofts actually. But it doesn't really matter which tyre they qualify on, because it's going to be a really wet race.
It's going to be all about positioning.
And it's all about precision and the ability to adapt, because when you're going on the dry setup and it's in the wet, you're going to have to brake a lot.
I think the last time we had a wet race at Mexico, a full wet race at Mexico was last season for GP2.
Yeah, and there was a lot of crashes in that race, I think.
There was a lot of spins. I think there was a couple of mistakes.
Gonna be on board with Brandon's doing this lap. Yaya Snooker.
And it does look like that P1 Brown is gone into the pits, so we are going to be out onto Yaya Sanogo. He's on the super softs.
But I think he might be coming into it was a 1:15.7.
He's 5th fastest.
I think he's having a bit of trouble. It's slow for his pace, so
I think he could possibly try and find another, say about 3.5 tenths.
yeah. As we see Dazzler and Sweetie coming into the first 3 corners. And they're flat.
Only that, we also have Brandon, who's now approaching the S's. Find out to see how he takes it. And it looks like he's backed off on that last part. Again, it's going to cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, like I said, if you get one part of the S wrong, you got the whole section of it wrong. As Dazzler nearly got it wrong as well.
He's gone super steady on the S's.
Yeah, that
so
Red Bull
goes onto the stadium section.
I think that Red Bull's perfect for the S's, but it looks like he's slowed down a little bit heading into that corner. So looks like he's backing off a little bit, I think.
Maybe back it off and then go for one more run. Has he got that lap time invalid as well?
Yeah, I think it's the S's that's going to catch the majority of the people in races and in quali. So,
well, I think for dry, then the S's can be a problem, but rain,
in the
I don't
rain,
think it'll be
it's
as much as a problem.
no.
It'll make
depends.
the back end more twitchy, but because you're trying to get the traction and ease on the throttle, it's not going to be that sort of a problem.
Well, you do have some drivers in probably every division. You'd have a couple of drivers that are a bit aggressive and wants to go on the throttle quickly, but they don't want to go on it too quickly on this track.
Ooh, Squiddy dropped down into 5th on the last part of the S's. It's 3 tenths up, but my eager eye did look like he cut the last part of the S's again.
Well, if he didn't, then he definitely did it there. Because
as Aaron Dazzler goes second fastest with a 1:13.5.
Yes.
Squiddy would have been a 1:16.3, and again he's invalid. Meanwhile, Brandon has actually done a 1:14.0.
We'll be on board with P1 on Brown as he's going through the S's. Nice and smooth in those S's actually. It's a good enough line. Looks like he put the corner a little bit, but not sure.
People on Brad's gone even quicker now. Gone on 1:13.2.
And Dazzler's having a problem. Trixie does a 1:14.
Trix actually jumped Brandon.
Yeah.
Jumped Brandon by 300ths. Good strong lap from the Scuderia Ferrari driver.
Yeah, but will he have those? Well, will he have that mentality in the race?
I don't actually know. As we do have P1 Brown on the slowdown lap. Well, on the cooldown lap after the improvements on his pole time.
Feeling Dog is half a second up on his time, so he might be going into the 1:13s, maybe.
Going for the 1:13s as well, as we are still on board with Trix on the aerial view of Trix onto the S's.
Ooh, nice dog for Feeling Dog, 1:13.5. The same time as Aaron Dazzler.
The same time as Dazzler.
Wow.
As Brandon now goes into the pits. And it's the same with Trix as well. So we are going to be going on board with Yaya Sonogo.
Will Yaya improve his time? He has to improve his time, but will he get probably into the 1:14s, maybe the late 1:13s?
Well, there's got to be. It's got to be guaranteed 1:14s.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Squiddy is yet to post the time.
And so, I'm about to say so is Harry, but I think Harry's not here.
No, I think it's because that his connection's actually dropped again.
So
it's a bit of a shame that he has to miss this race. It looks like he was looking forward for it.
Yeah.
As Sonogo now approaches onto the S's.
Gets some nice good approaches. Keeps it through. Nice and steady.
Oh, now he's slowed down. Invalidation again.
Sonogo probably needs to...
He's a killer.
Sonogo probably needs to go into the pits right now. Sonogo go into the pits. fresh tires and go out. Because you need to do a lap that doesn't need to invalidate.
Meanwhile, P1R Brown, Aaron Dazzler, Trix, Brandon and Taylor are now on their outlaps. So Squiddy is going to be starting on his flying lap on the Hypers.
Squiddy needs to make no mistakes in this one. Because those Hypers can roar out easily.
So we go along to temperature really quick. You go, it approaches 215. Coming up to the first heavy braking zone.
Yeah, it looks like it went over the curb a little bit. Especially on the second curb.
It doesn't look like he's posing any much of a threat at all. Got a 27.8 on the first sector.
Needs to be calm and collective. And
Takes a very good tight line onto the double rights.
Yep, will he be smooth and collective in these episodes?
We'll find it out.
First couple,
Drops down to 6th. Make it a much better turn in, and then go up to 7th. As he now approaches onto the stadium section.
It's actually
Takes a late apex perfectly, and now onto the left-hander to then a long left as it opens out. As he crosses the line, it goes second fastest with a 1:13.5.
Yeah, but we have enough fuel to go one more time.
It does look like it though, but it's going to be a tall order as Finn Doggy Dog is going to be starting up his flying lap as we go on his telemetry. As he approaches up to 215 and brakes super hard and goes into 4th and then 3rd. These 3 corners, stays in 3rd and then goes up into 4th, 5th, 6th, and then opening DRS on 7th and then 8th straight away. So Dazzler goes fastest with a 1:13.1.
Now, if Brown must be thinking, what he can do, I can do better. I can possibly think that Brown might actually be the first person to go into the 112s.
It's going to be a slight opportunity though for P1R Brown. He needs to get this as we are now coming up to the dying few seconds of the short qualifying as it is now officially over.
Bit of a lock up there for Brown, but he gets it. Keep it calm and collective in these S's. That must be what he's thinking at the moment.
He's leaving it in 6th.
Gets a
And
good
goes
end.
into 7th.
Gets a good
Very
exit.
good exit. He's 2/10 up on his time. Quarter of a second up on his time. Could this be history making?
Brown is on a mission, and he's determined to get that.
He's now going towards the opening lap. Takes the shorter line. Does a 1:12.7, but it was invalid.
Unlucky for Brown. Just misses out on first.
As he now is going to be starting on P2.
Unlucky for Brown.
As we go on to Brandon, who's going to be crossing the line. Jumps, tricks, and starting P5 with a 1:13.8. Sonogo is going in the pits, whereas Taylor and Oscar have not improved.
That has to be the
P1R
most.
Brown's going to be kicking himself.
If I was in the shoes, I probably would be kicking myself.
I bet he's going to be extremely annoyed that that was not an invalidated time.
It must have been not on the S's, but on the.
I think it was on the.
Entry.
I think it was either turn. No, I think it could either be turn 3 or turn 5. So it does look like that Aaron Dazzler will be counting his lucky stars.
Yep, here comes the wet period.
So there we have it. for the short qualifying for GP1.1. Aaron Dazzler's going to be starting on pole with P&R Brown less than 2/10 separated between the championship rivals. Damien Squid is going to be starting in third with a 1:13.5 with Vin Doggy Dog less than 900ths behind him. Meanwhile, Brandon's going to be starting in P5 with a 1:13.8 with Trix with a 1:14.0. With P&R Brown's teammate Sonogo's going to be starting in P7 with Taylor starting in P8 with a 1:14.6, and then his teammate Oscar will be starting in P9 with a 1:14.7. Only 800ths shy between the two Williams drivers.
As Harry Hams is unable to drive this race, there will be only 9 drivers.
Yeah.
And it's really
look at the downpour.
Well,
so the race will then start at 29 minutes to 9.
That's Mexico for you. Well, we are close
and
to
we'll
the
have a look at the
rainforest.
tyres that they're going to be on, and it's the full wets.
Yeah. My question is whose cell will be suitable for this wet period?
That is a good question. That's a very, very interesting question there, Owen. Because we absolutely have no clue whose setup's going to be strong.
Yeah. Now I'm worried for tomorrow's 2 races.
And now, it's time for the segment
that everybody probably loves,
is kind of intrigued to go for, especially in the full wets in this race, which is the top 3 predictions.
There's my
board. Owen will be getting his whiteboard and pen.
There he is. Thank you, my lovely assistant.
And I'll let you start off first and
oh God.
See what your top 3 predictions are.
That's my lovely assistant didn't give me a rubber. God damn it.
Don't worry, he'll be fired.
Oh, she will. My top 3. This is a tricky one because
I think it's going to be tricky for both of us because we don't actually know what the pace is going to be like in the full rain.
Yeah, but we've seen the pace in dries, and we all thought it was going. And I thought that was going to be tricky in the dry. But now you got rain in the mix. It's literally like a death zone or a death race in this one.
It's going to make the. I think it's mainly going to make the last 2 corners super difficult.
But I will go once I've written the actual numbers down because I'm a stupid and hasn't done it in pre-production. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And there we go. Me will, as I will choose P1R Brown for first.
Yeah.
I will go Dazzler for second.
Yeah.
And this is going to be an interesting one, but I'm actually going to go Doggy Dog in third.
Oh. Is there a reason why you're going to go for Finn Doggy Dog?
Well, I will go from once I've written his name down. Put down Daggy Dog for some reason. Don't know why. There you go.
Is there a reason why you're going to go for Finn Doggy Dog for third?
I think if he times, well, if the rain doesn't go, if it's like full on wets, then I'd probably say it's going to be close between him and Brandon. Or if it does go to intermediate session, well, part of the track, probably going to have the undercut and probably get underneath Squiddy's skin and get third.
I think one more thing is, what will be your driver to watch?
Trixie. Well, Trix, because I'm thinking he's going to get a good start and probably on the tail of Squiddy in that first corner.
Okay. My predictions, I think it's a little bit going to be quite odd. I'm
You
actually going to
are.
go for... thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go for
Don't you
Aaron
agree?
Dazzler
Uh-huh.
for first.
Yeah.
This is where it gets a little bit tricky, a little bit weird. Yeah, a little bit weird. We have Finn Doggy Dog second,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna go Sonogo third. I'm
Right.
gonna say that the driver to watch,
Mhm.
I think, could be Oscar Gamer. Even though he hasn't showed him his full potential in
Oh
the
God, that
drive
forcing was
session of
sliding.
qualifying, there could be still a good opportunity for him in the range to see what his pace is going to be like.
I'm gonna say that Force India Dazzler is sliding in these corners. He's losing it in the rear.
So he's showing that he's using a very twitchy setup.
Yes, so I think my prediction might actually be on point due to Dazzler going wide. Especially on those
Especially
S's.
in the formation lap.
Yeah, so...
Like, good grief. But he must be extremely lucky that it's not the race.
yeah. That's...
I think this will go as my predictions under the bus.
I think my predictions is on the bus.
I think my predictions is a high risk one. Because I have not mentioned P1R Brown in my top 3.
Yeah. So you're pretty much thinking that P1R Brown probably would crash it somewhere, but...
Or make a mistake, or
make a
gets
mistake.
pressured, or gets taken out.
But we will find out.
Yep, we are going to find out, as the rest of the grid will be is now going to be forming up here at the atrociously wet race here in Mexico. So anyway, here we go. 4, 5 red lights for the Mexican Grand Prix.
And off we go.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
What?
It does actually goes off into a bit of an okay start. Well, P1R Brown's actually bogged down a little bit. Meanwhile, Damien Squid is actually caught up. Which means P1R Brown and Aaron Dazzler's Squid is going to be going onto the outside. There's been some contact between Finn Doggy Dog and Brandon.
Well, that's my prediction out the window.
Meanwhile, Squiddy is still at the back of Aaron Dazzler. Going to be going onto the outside of turn 4.
Well, have the inside
of turn 5.
And turn 6.
It looks like he's going to be getting the traction. But it looks like Dazzler's actually defended super well. There's been some slight contact between the two drivers.
But if Trix is actually playing smart and staying behind... Oh, I nearly lost it.
Oh, Dazzler goes for the move on Squiddy on the opening point of the S's to get the lead back.
This race is high octane and everything. Well, you're the new gamer that... Well, the new gamer.
Oscar Gamers has actually gone up a couple of places.
Yeah, gone up by 3.
P6.
He's gone up with his teammate. Yeah. And be on board with Yaya in this section.
Here we see P1R Brown being very cautious on his ERS load as Finn Doggy Dog now goes into the pits. Meanwhile, Squiddy is actually trying to get better traction than Aaron Dazzler. But it does look like it's going to be paying off a little bit because he's closing as P1R Brown and Trix are struggling to keep up with the top 2.
Yeah, but the Williams has got all Brandon left up. Yaya. Yaya just outbreak himself. That's all.
As Oscu is currently red barring, so feel free to keep a sharp eye on him. But it doesn't look like it's that damaging. It's not jumpy.
He's perfectly fine on my end.
So that's alright then. He's not jumpy, so that's good. As Squiddy now is actually starting to struggle a little bit. Now just onto the end of lap 2. As Aaron Dazzler is just being super cautious on the throttle. Trying not to, every little spike on that throttle is just going to cause the car to just step out.
Dazzler
Aaron
does the
Dazzler goes
fastest.
fastest with a 1:30.4.
I would say
Dazzler's definitely pulling the gap off of Squiddy.
Brandon's catching up on Gamer as Brandon's going on the outside of Gamer, heading into turn 1, and he gets him.
Yeah, Brandon makes that move stick perfectly.
And he's on the...
He's now going to be going on the charge of the other Williams driver of Taylor. Meanwhile, Yaya Sonogo's actually keep catching up slowly with Oscar as well. Half a tenth per lap.
Yep, he's kind of red barring now.
Doesn't seem to be that bad though. As Sonogo's actually looks like he's got a better run than Oscar, but Sonogo got the dirty air off of him.
And that's goes on the charge for Brandon.
Well, it looks like Squid is actually losing a lot of ground off of Dazzler now, as P1 on Brand is actually getting right up his gearbox off of Squiddy's Red Bull.
Yeah, it's whenever you lose traction on someone, or when we lose speed on one driver, another driver comes out there and catches up with you.
So here we go, P1 on Brand is utilising the tow a little bit, just trying to pull his car a little bit closer. He's going to be trying to go for a move and some slight contact between the two. Squiddy defends against P1 on Brand very, very well.
Oh, Gamer spins it.
Ooh!
Spins it heading out in turn 1.
As P1 on Brand is planning on going onto the outside of Squiddy. And tries to go on the inside, but Squiddy cuts him off.
Brandon is catching up to the neat teacher. Or I should probably call him now Taylor.
Nicky Taylor.
Yep, sorry, I apologise. So at one point it's going to change his gamer tag again, confuse me even more.
Who knows? P1 on Brand, look at the traction he's got from Squiddy. Got the better traction than Squiddy. Is now going on to the inside on the stadium section. There's some contact again between the two.
But he's got him though.
As P1 on Brand goes very deep, that hairpin. Squiddy's trying to go for the outside move on the other corner.
Yeah, but now that puts Trix into the mix as well.
Trix is actually starting to struggle in that Ferrari, struggling to get the grip.
Yeah. But it's definitely got the straight line speed. Dad's Brandon's coming on Taylor.
Oh, Brown
has
gone super deep. He's lost his momentum.
Bit of contact between Brandon and Taylor, but Brandon now takes on the
ensued. Squiddy's actually taking a much better line than P1 on Brand, but P1 on Brand's going to be securing the inside line of the following corner.
I didn't see Yo-Yo behind everyone, Jesus Christ. I didn't see Yo-Yo then. Until last second as Yo-Yo gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. There's a huge battle for second as Dazzler is increasing the gap between him and Brown.
Oh, I think Squiddy's now starting to struggle now. His tyres are starting to get the best of him.
And I think Brown's tyres is actually doing better than Squiddy's.
The biggest surprise of all was OS
Ooh,
Tricks is going to be
Tricks.
planning on going for a move. It's quite forced.
I think that was
Squiddy had no
just.
choice to try and avoid that.
I think that was just a warning shot saying, look, I'm here now. And Tricks gets him.
I think the reason why Tricks gets him is because Squiddy just basically caught in one corner. Meanwhile, they're going to go side by side on the approach of turn 1, going too wide. Squiddy onto the outside. Tricks going to be trying to go on the inside, but it looks like Squiddy has got the best of him. Meanwhile, Sunoco's going to be going onto the outside of Nicky Taylor, and then go for the inside of turn 2. But Nicky Taylor defends perfectly onto turn 3, but Sunoco gets the traction better and takes
And
the
gets them onto
6.
Battles everywhere, this is.
And we're not even a third of the way through.
No, we're only 1/6 of the way through.
Yeah.
Yes, I did maths, I don't care.
All Tricks looks like he got hit the curb on the S's, which just unsettled the car a little bit.
Yeah, but he's got it back though.
He's regained control ever so slightly. So now he's open to try and use the traction again.
Yeah, I think this is a trick for everybody. Do not go for the curbs in the wet.
Don't go for all the curbs, especially for Mexico.
Yeah, because it'll lose your time. You'll lose speed. As I would say,
But it looks like Tricks has got the grip. He's got the traction off that last corner, but it's a stalemate.
I was going to say if there was any DRS, but I realise it's wet.
Actually, we would know if the DRS will be enabled if it will say on the race
I know, but I was joking.
I know.
I'm taking the race.
Meanwhile, those Tricks still trying to keep up with Squiddy.
I think everybody's just spaced out.
Well, the only battle at the moment is obviously between Squiddy and Tricks. And it does look like that Tricks has got the traction, and Squiddy goes super defensive, which cost him now. Squiddy tries to go for that, tries to go super defensive on Tricks.
Oh, he gets it back though.
But does get it back, so that does mean that Tricks has let him through. It doesn't look like there was ever any. I don't think there's any damage from Squiddy, so that was a good save for him.
Yeah, but I think there's a little bit of contact that made the car movie.
I think it was one of them magnet effects.
Yeah. No, Tricks needs to build up on this gap. Because Dazzler's keeping the gap between him and Brown between 3.8 and 4 seconds, while Brown on Squiddy is 6 seconds. As Tricks gets a 3-second time penalty.
Not only that, Brandon's actually slowly picking up the pace a little bit, reducing the gap off of Tricks.
Gamer gets the 3
seconds. Tricks and Squiddy are been battling. Tricks is still on the back of Squiddy.
Yeah, but Squiddy's
I think it's just
dirty air.
Yeah, it's not only he's giving him the dirty air, but also Tricks is getting slightly frustrated.
He's getting a lot of speed.
I wasn't sure what happened to Squiddy, but it looks like there's going to be a too wide moment. Well, it looks like Tricks has backed off, and Squiddy gets a 3-second time penalty now. And now Tricks is going to go onto the outside. Now trying to cut back. And then try and get the traction for the next following 2 corners. As P1 Brad gets the next fastest lap of 1:29.2.
Look like the rain is not going to stop. So
As
Brandon
Trix
must be...
is just slowly creeping up, but nothing, as there's a yellow flag.
Oh, Squiddy loses that really?
First to second sector, but there's nothing. The Squiddy and Trix as they're going side by side on turn 2 and 3. There's been some slight contact. They're now going to go too wide again on the approach to turn 4. Meanwhile, Brandon has actually reduced that gap even more now because these two were battling. And now they're going to go, now Squiddy and Trix are going too wide onto turn 4 and 5. Squiddy giving Trix the gap that he desperately needs. As Trix is going to be still going to be onto the inside. Squiddy is still on the outside.
Yeah, but this is bringing Brandon and Yaya into the mix as well, so this is a particularly, or potentially
This is basically a four-way battle for the last pole.
For third, but one mistake from either of these guys.
Oh, but it looks like Squiddy is starting to struggle now. His tyres are now starting to get the best of it. It's so close onto that wall.
Yeah, but this is the problem now. Trucks can go while Squiddy has to follow with Brandon and a quick Yaya behind him.
This is going to be all about slipstream and who has got the better than less downforce, as Brandon gets huge amounts of understeer.
Yeah, and Yaya got good traction as well.
No damage has been given. Meanwhile, Brandon is going to be closing the gap onto Squiddy, utilising the tow, utilising the slipstream. Squiddy goes defensive.
Yeah, but Brandon's probably going to get him on this third corner.
He goes defensive again.
But Squiddy goes wide.
Does not get the traction. Squiddy rejoins the track safely.
Yeah. Yaya must be thinking, I'm going to stay back and see what
Oh, Squiddy goes deep.
Oh, big contact.
And then contact again.
And Yaya just gone through both. Oh, just gone through Squiddy.
Squiddy's now lost 2 places.
And
because of that mistake at turn 4.
Yeah, but Yaya
outbroke himself.
If he didn't move, and if he didn't outbreak himself, he would call into Brandon.
Oh, and Squiddy's lost it.
Yeah, but is it?
Taylor had to completely avoid that corner. Tried to abandon his racing line to avoid it. Good track awareness from Mickey Taylor there.
Yeah. Now everybody's spaced out.
Well, that was unbelievable. Half laps.
Half
laps was a bit unexpected.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Well, now we're just going to double figures. This is a brilliant race.
It does look, well, overall it has been spaced out, but it does look like that the rain is...
Looks like the rain has dried up a little bit.
Light. It's gone to light rain by the looks of it.
So it could look like we can... Well, some... do see the raindrops coming down, but...
You can still see the rain streaks on the front nose and halo of Sonogo's point of view. And I think you can also see the same on Brandon's point of view. As Pierre Brand gets the 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Triggs, surprisingly, has made the most positions and is sitting perfectly in third.
Yeah, and that's said to keep it on, eh? So...
I've done a very good shout there, Owen, at the moment.
Like I said, if he has a good start, and he did have a good start, and he had really good battles between him and Squiddy for about at least 4 laps. So... Well, I'm going to say at least 4 laps. I think it was about from lap 5 actually, so it could have been 6 laps. I don't know, I can't remember. There's Yaya out. There's
5 to 6 laps maybe. Yep. Meanwhile, Sonogo's now less than a second off of Brandon now. Now it could possibly hot up even more. It does look like that Sonogo's pace on them 4 wets seems to be a little bit more better in the corners than Brandon. Whilst Brandon's actually got better traction and straight line speed than Sonogo.
Now this is a Force India engine versus a Renault engine. So this could
Well, the Mercedes engine against the Renault engine.
okay, yeah, that. So also Mercedes is going to have the straight line speed. Will Renault just
Straight
have
line
the
speed,
corners?
but I think the Renault engine's got the torque.
Yeah, and it's really good at handling as well, especially in the wet. Well,
Sonogo struggles a little bit on the opening part of the S's. There's some
stays on
slight
fifth
understeer,
gear.
but it does look like he's opened his car a little bit, and is now less than a second behind the Force India driver at Brandon. As Aaron Dazzler's now commencing lap 13 of 36.
The only big loser is Finny Dog, or Finn Doggy Dog, who's dropped down from fourth
Starting
to
fourth. As Dazzler now gets a 3-second time penalty.
yes, he's penalty.
And you can see Brandon's getting better traction than Sonogo. Getting the traction off the line. Meanwhile, we have the first pit stopper of Nicky Taylor, who is going to go on the inters. First one on the intermediates.
Yeah, but is it too soon to go into? I think it is. I think it might be too soon. Because it's still heavily damp in places.
Yeah, you can still see some of the standing water on the racing line as well.
But we do see the clouds in the background and are slowly breaking up.
Yeah, you can start to see some more light grey clouds.
Yeah.
So it could possibly be the crossover point from heavy rain to light rain, as Sonogo has now closed the gap onto half a second of Brandon again. But this time it looks like Sonogo's actually got the traction off of the exit of the S's, despite slight wheel spin on the exit.
Yeah, I think the wheel just caught the curb a little, front line caught the curb a little bit too much and heavily spun as he's closing on Brandon a lot. Well, Dazzler is actually increasing the gap on Brown as
Sonogo's now pulled the trigger.
Yeah, let's see what time
he's gone into the pits. Which means that Scritty will be...
He's going on inters as well, so...
Staying out. As Sonogo, yeah, he is going on inters. Yeah, he's only going to be on the inters for 22 laps.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's way too long for him to go on. If I was him, I would have stayed up for laps.
I actually kind of agree with you.
I would have stayed up for a couple of laps because it's not drying.
Because if we do look at people on Brown's perspective, he's still within 3.3 seconds of Aaron Dazzler.
Yeah, and he's increasing the gap on tricks.
So I do think, I think for inters, I think the best point to go for the inters is the end of lap 15.
Well, anywhere between lap 15 and lap 19 onto lap 20. That's pretty well on Brown goes into the pits.
Aaron Dazzler now goes into the pits, and same goes with Dazzler.
You said Dazzler twice then, so.
That's fine.
Well, my question is Trix going into the pits? And he does. Will Brandon go into the pits?
So it is the crossover now.
Okay, we're going at the crossover point then. So Yaya actually got this right.
But it's not going to be much to avail as Dazzler and Brown are now both out.
Yeah, but both in the same
Scritty now goes into the pits, and it does look like he's suffering some front wing damage.
Well, will Yaya be in front of Trix? And he isn't. Okay.
As Nicky Taylor is now going to be heading out, and has now jumped to Brandon. And same goes with Osco. He's going to be jumping Squiddy now. Osco is still full wet.
Yeah, but he's probably waiting for his pit stop. As he gets one for warning, so
is Osco a little bit leery?
Now this literally it's going to be a close race now for
Oh, we could also see
probably
that the sun
anyone.
is out as well. And there's been some contact with late break.
Yeah, just saw that. Just went on to that.
A late break from Osco and a slight tap on Brandon's rear end. Pulls Brandon into a half spin.
Oscar needs to go into the pits and go on into
I think Oscar needs
those wets.
to
So go
get
into
complete-
Brandon.
Oh, Brandon
Like you just
has
lost
now
wing damage.
got wing damage now.
Well, no, loss of concentration.
Going
As
from bad
Yara,
to worse.
as Yara
Sunoco goes
Boston.
fastest.
Yeah, I think he might go back to the pits and go into another Inters. Oh, it's Brandon. That wing's going to possibly cost him.
Oh, that was a late call.
But he has no front right wing though. He can't turn when you lose wing
Yeah,
on
but
wets.
I'm pretty sure that when he was getting close towards the pit entry, I bet he was close to almost forgetting.
Forgetting.
Yeah, forgetting. Okay.
Do you want to win? Throughout the week, Phil literally corrects you with your English. When it comes to stream, you correct his. There you go.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Right, back to race. As P1 O'Brien is 2 points
Even
behind
Brand
us.
is 2.5 seconds, whereas Trix is 16.5 seconds. But Sunoco's actually slowly catching up. As Dazzler now goes fastest, and now Brand's go fastest. The track is definitely drying up.
Well, my question is, what if in the next 10 laps it's dry enough to go on slicks?
We absolutely have no clue. So now on to the approach of lap 17. P1R Brown is closing that gap. Problem is though is that both of them have got 3-second time penalties at the moment.
Brandon
This is
is
a battle
losing.
of whoever. This is the battle of whoever gets another time penalty at the top two. It's gonna cost them.
Yeah, I'm just on board with Brandon, and that front wing damage is making him turn a lot twitchier. I think he might have to pit in. Well, I think he's already pit in.
He has actually pitted in for a new wing.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget he's gone on to another set of intermediates.
Yep. It seems like Brown and Dazzler had to brake a lot harder in those corners.
As Dazzler now goes fastest again. Brandon gets a 3-second time penalty. As we're now halfway through into the race. Aaron Dazzler, your current championship leader at the moment, is still on in the lead, with P1R Brown being 2.4 seconds behind. Meanwhile, OS Trix is 19.7 seconds, with Sunoco being 23.9 seconds off the leader. So far, no retirements at the moment. But all of that is expected to change, as we will be finding out later in the race.
My concern now is when it goes to GP3 and GP2 tomorrow. I'm just concerned for both the races if this is going to be the same conditions for them.
Well, you never. Well, you don't actually really know, really.
No, so you never know. This might be the only wet race of the weekend, but it could rain on a different track.
It could rain. Ooh, sorry about that. It could rain. But it could be a wet race. Obviously, it's a wet race on 1.1. As Brown now goes fastest with a 1:27.1. It will be raining. Well, we obviously know that it's a wet race. It's the 1.1.
Mm.
3, I think it could be a wet quali dry race.
Mm.
I think for GP2, I'm guessing it could be a dry to wet quali to a dry to then to a wet to dry race. GP2, and then for GP1, I think it could possibly be, this is based on my opinion, a wet to dry quali, then a dry to wet race.
Okay.
But I think the chances of one of the divisions that could possibly be a full dry race, which has the highest possibility, would be GP3.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, that's for tomorrow. This is now, and this is GP 1.1 with 19 laps in on 36. God, this is a long race.
We've got 17 laps to go. Squiddy is also actually gaining on Oscu as Peel Brown goes even faster now with a 126.4. As Brandon now picks up the pace and now catching up with Finn Doggy Dog.
It seems like whatever Dazzler does, Brown does one better.
I think it's kind of like that fight or flight decision. When you think, oh, that guy sets a faster lap, oh, I can go faster.
Either that or someone's playing whatever you can do, I could do better song in the background.
Probably.
For comedic reasons. As a scratch, I was like, ooh, gamer!
Oh, Oscu!
I think he just outbreak himself. Let's see where
as Finn Doggy Dog tries to go for
but Brandon's gone.
a move, and then Finn Doggy Dog.
There's
it's at the exit of the stadium section.
It's unlucky for him, mate.
Very unfortunate from Oscu there.
He had a good, I'd probably say a decent.
I'd say he had a very good, strong ish qualifying session, I think. As Finn Doggy Dog actually goes for the reply and takes the move on for Brandon, as Brandon gets slightly frustrated with a slight touch from Finn Doggy Dog's back side of the Toro Rosso, but Brandon's actually still going to be sticking with the pace as Finn Doggy Dog gets a tiny bit deep, keeps it narrow on the next corner, as Finn Doggy Dog then goes narrow again on the double right. And now as the approach onto the S's, which are now onto the cursed lap of 21.
Maybe we should be
talking Finn Doggy Dog and Brandon. Whoa, Brandon! The reactions that he got from that. As Finn Doggy Dog tries to go for a late break, but can't find the right position.
You want to talk about driver of the day in 10 more laps? So lap 31, lap 32.
Driver of the day at lap 32.
Okay then. Well, the thing is,
whilst we're on to coming up to lap 22, we could possibly talk about next week, which is Brazil, the Brazilian Grand Prix for GP 1.1. It's the Juan Carlos Jose Pache, or Interlagos. Some of the veteran Formula 1 viewers.
Yep, and that track has a high percentage rate of rain, so
I think it has almost a joint high percentage of rain based on humidity. I think the other of Singapore.
Yeah.
Mexico is a bit quite rare for it to be raining because obviously it's at a high altitude. thin air density basically means less clouds. Or
Yeah,
less clouds.
but yeah, it seems like P1 Brown is getting traction in these S's. They cut the gap down to a full second.
No, actually, on the bubble of a second to less than a second.
But I am going to say one thing, this is probably going to get the title decided really close between these, so I think this might actually head into Abu Dhabi.
Still 10 points at the moment. I think the title is not. Well, the points haven't been changed yet.
But it's.
But I think if I'm right, Aaron Dazzler's extended it at USA. But I'm guessing that Brown is hoping to get this win off of Dazzler and then try and continue that for next week.
Yeah. But Dazzler only need to score. Need to get first or second in these next two races.
Well, we could possibly say that Mexico. Well, in the past few seasons, Mexico has been the race of controversies. I think it was the one. I think that was the only. It was the only race that had the most controversial moments, as P1 Brown gets the back end out on the S's.
And Dougie Dog with a time penalty. God, the tunes have gone back in my head again. Just when I thought I got rid of it.
Mexico is basically the race of controversial moments.
But if anything does happen from now till Abu Dhabi, well, if it's neck and neck up to Abu Dhabi, then we'll look to whoever wins the race between them two.
That is correct.
And hopefully Shaw would like to commentate on that race, but in the meantime, I'm just going to concentrate on this one.
That is also correct as well. So we're now on to lap 24.36. Brown seems to be losing the ground again.
Yeah, I'm looking at the gap between Tricks and Yaya. It's been 3 seconds for the past, past 10 laps. Probably is past 10 laps. So something.
I think it is actually the past 10 laps.
Yeah, so it's already Yaya is.
Brown has got a 3-second time penalty. That could possibly seal it.
Yeah. But I have seen Dazzler go a bit. What about I say that was Dazzler then? Not God, how about me? God damn it, Squiddy. But I have seen Dazzler took out that rear end a little bit sometimes in some of these corners, so. Brown is not actually giving up.
I think I was rather to the cusp of, obviously with next week, obviously with Brazil, and obviously we've got tomorrow for GP3 and GP2, and also for GP1 on Sunday.
Yep.
Do you think there could possibly be another huge upset or another huge surprise in the next 3 races this weekend?
I'm probably gonna say GP2 is gonna be the closest because of how many points. Well, probably not the closest to be honest, because the title's probably already.
I think the title's going to be done and dusted tomorrow. Yeah. Because Para is going to be returning. He did miss USA. But it didn't affect the points gap as much as Tom Fiona, I think, was in the bottom 5. The end of USA.
GP3. probably say.
If you see it as, let's say if you're seeing it as a, let's say as a viewer's perspective of how do you think that GP3, GP2, and GP1 could possibly overcome at Mexico? You obviously know what GP2 is going to be like.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Which will have possibly the most surprises.
Yeah. GP3 will
So
probably.
Do you think of the two, of GP3 and GP1, which of them two could have possibly have the most upsets?
I'll probably say GP3 because at the moment the new drivers that are in here, they're showing a lot of heart. To be honest, when the new drivers came in, I am currently going through a downfall in GP3, but I'm just not going to head down that again. But at the moment, I think GP3 is going to be close as Brandon overtakes Taylor.
Yep, overtakes Nicky Taylor. Nicky Taylor went super wide.
But,
narrow on the S's.
Dazzler's got some traffic. But there's a
Doggy Dog lets Dazzler and round through.
This trick's getting a little time to.
Dazzler now, remember it starts at 27. There's a yellow flag on the third sector. Second to third sector, but there's nothing. As Sunoga's actually picked up the pace now.
Yeah, I think that might have been tricks. So Yaya might get third. And it could be a Renault top 3.
Renault 2-3.
Yeah.
So we are going to find out.
But yeah, from a viewer's point of view, GP3 is probably going to be the most unexpected because of the new drivers. GP1 probably the same again because the title hasn't been confirmed on who's going to get it because there's three drivers that still has to fight in there to probably contend for it. So it's going to be close either way out this weekend. Whoever gets the good points in GP3 and in GP1 could possibly get the title, but it just depends on where they start and where they finish.
Yeah.
You don't win the race on paper, you win it on the track.
You win it on the track and you also win it on your performance on the track. I think I'll also say out of the three, which one, only pick one, which one will be the most controversial? Do you think there's going to be one which could have some controversy between obviously two drivers? Because the last time we had controversy at Mexico was obviously in season 2 at Mexico in GP1 when it was the battle for third.
And that could happen again. So, but I think it might actually be in GP2.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm getting a feeling that something's going to happen between the top 5 and someone in the top 5 is going to get like screwed. But
did you think there might be some badly timed team orders or double stacks or what?
It could be double stacks, it could be bad team orders, or it could be just miscommunication between drivers.
As Squiddy has now gone out of his pit box, and now Brandon has now jumped to P5. Squiddy will now be on fresh sets.
There's actually
commemorate starting at 29.
There's 2 contenders that I want to put in for driver of the day.
Maybe I have to pick one.
And I'm just giving 2 options, not 2 contenders.
I think I've got a couple. I think I've got Yeah, about two options.
I would say 3, but don't want to give it to the top 2 because it's just pretty much the same thing, different week. To be honest. So
Yeah.
I'll go somewhere else for this one. And plus, it's actually kind of the start of a trend because over the past 2 weeks, Driver of the Day has been given to the new drivers, or to people that never thought they would get Driver of the Day. So,
Yeah. Actually, no. Last week, Driver of the Day was given to Dazzler, only because of him being very consistent throughout the entirety of the race.
yeah,
But in
but
Japan,
no,
it was Finn Doggy Dog, as
No,
Dazzler
but-
and Brown has both pitted.
yeah,
Well, it doesn't
but
seem to be that much of a problem, because third is 30 plus seconds behind.
yeah, as they go onto another side of Inters. But it's not time for slicks. As Yoyo is
Not a chance.
As Yoyo is losing a bit of grip in those Inters. Well, he's got the downforce.
It does have the downforce, that is correct, and it does have the traction. It does look like that the track is drying up ever so slightly. Meanwhile, Sonoga's actually going to be utilising the toe and slipstream to go onto the outside of Trix. And now goes
It's going
down
up the
round the
inside.
outside on turn 1. Going to be taking the inside on turn 2. And now Trix has defended perfectly off of Sonogo. Still sticks with third.
Nice battle. Whoa.
Ooh! Don't know what happened there.
Was there contact between them both?
I don't know.
Well, you saying you're controversially there and controversial stuff, but there's one.
Yeah, that's true.
We spoke too soon on that one, did we? Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, well, back to the race.
Well, the thing is, though, we were basically trying to find out which division could have the most controversy. Didn't expect that.
Squiddy on Brandon. Will the same thing happen between them both, or what will happen? The Squiddy looks to be on the outside.
Utilising the slipstream, going around the outside.
Looks like Brandon is giving him a bit of room.
Oh,
but,
there's contact between Brandon and Squiddy.
Now that's impatient.
Oh.
Now that's being impatient on Squiddy's behalf. It should have been.
That's a bit of elbow barging.
Yeah. Now that's just telling you, get out me way. Don't know where the accent came from, but that's get out me way.
I don't know where that accent came from.
I'm lost. I can tell. Right into Squiddy. Why back to the studio?
Say, Driver of the Day Sunoco.
Yeah, one of my picks was going to be Tricks, but that's
Yeah, I was thinking of the same with Tricks as well.
Oh, Brandon!
Oh, there's been some contact again between the two.
Squiddy needs
The
to be
elbows are
patient.
coming out swinging
Yeah, Brandon's
between
gone
these
super
two
wide.
drivers.
What is Squiddy doing?
As Brandon's tried to break the toe off of Squiddy.
Avalanche was trying to get away from Squiddy. Because he knows he's being aggressive.
Well, we obviously know in past races that Squiddy's aggression definitely shows in past races. I think one of which was in one was in Italy, and then the other one was in Japan. As P1 Brown goes fastest with 125.8 now.
I don't want to get rid of it.
As meanwhile, Squiddy is still in the back of Brandon, as we see on the aerial shot.
Yeah, the helicopter shot, as I call it, or the fly.
It's a very, very good shot, seeing two cars trying to battle it out.
DRS
DRS is now enabled.
So it is dry enough, but it doesn't look dry though. Unless it's dry in some places. But
Possibly.
Brandon is going in the pits.
Brandon's now gone in. I think Brandon's got baited. I think Brandon's Brandon's been baited, I think.
Yeah, but this is the question. Will the top two go in?
And he's gone on the hypers. That's a huge risk.
Should have gone on the softs.
This could be a huge risk.
Go in.
I know that it's only 4 laps, but this is going to be a huge risk for him.
Right, P1 Brown and Dazzler doesn't go in. Wilson no-go going. Wilson no-go going. For God's
As we
sake.
see, Aaron Dazzler's going to be overtaking his teammate.
And Sunugo goes in.
Sonogo now goes in.
I should have said that. But, oh well. As Dazzler has caught up with Brandon.
But then Doggy Dog gets the fastest lap of a 1:25.6. So it does look like it's getting drier and drier and drier.
Yep. I think Brandon needs to let Dazzler go past because I think the actual people down the other end is telling Brandon, let him pass, let him pass, let him pass.
I'll look on Squiddy.
Oh, now's actually let him past. So for God's sake, I'm looking at the wrong car sometimes, I really am. Both Force Indias.
Squiddy's actually staying out.
What is Brandon doing?
I don't know. I don't know what Brandon is thinking. But he hasn't lapped himself.
Now the team order's saying let him pass, let him pass, let him pass. Ah.
As Dazzler and Brown now both pit. And as we still see on Brandon's point of view, the road is still falling down.
Yeah, but it's in some places.
Yeah, that is true.
It's just gotta be careful, that's all. As
Dazzler goes even faster now.
As Dazzler goes on hypers while Brown goes on hypers.
This could be it'll be a 2-lap dash.
Yeah, well, both cold hypers and I think both of them has time penalties. I think.
Yeah, both have time penalties.
Well, I don't know how many time penalties both has. I haven't been concentrating that much.
As Squiddy is going to be going up to the last few corners, and the rain has now officially stopped.
So
Squiddy's now gone into the pits, which is
and
now
stop go.
Stop go.
Yeah, that being impatient. Right, so we're giving go on the day to Yaya, right?
Yeah. I think he had a bit of a shaky start in qualifying.
Oh, Brandon with the fastest up of 122.8. As Brandon moves up to 4th.
I think I'll have a go to Snow to give it to Brandon. I don't know.
We can choose on the end of this thing if you want.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah.
I might just saying Sonogo, whereas my hands, I don't know what I'm saying my hands. My hands are saying Brandon.
I'm saying Sunugo now. Because the gap between Sunugo and Brown is like 36 seconds. There's no way Brandon... Why did I say Brown? Oh my Jesus. There's no way Brown...
Oh my God.
I can tell I'm not with it tonight. It's
No.
the end of the stream, man. Come on. Put
Put
yourself
to the
back.
dying moments of the stream.
It's a puck for some reason, don't know why. Right, back to the stream. 2 laps to go. The gap between Brandon and Jesus.
I do think that we could possibly see the end of the Drivers' Championship title for next week.
Yep, but Brown is not giving up on Dazzler. There you go. White Force India. As they're probably going to go on Rich and hot lap on the RS. Brown does a
As
119.6.
Brown goes fastest with a 119.6 now. As we now commemorate onto the final lap.
This is make or break for Dazzler. One mistake and it could potentially cost you a race.
One mistake, it could be game over.
As Brown gets a lovely traction out of that corner.
Yeah,
Don't know why my voice.
Yeah, super good traction.
Don't know why
On the
my
exit
voice.
turn 3, now gone to turn 4. It's a little bit deeper than Dazzler.
Yeah.
And Dazzler goes deeper on the double right.
He's being defensive. He's playing it smart, I guess. Brown gets good traction out of the L into the S's. Will he get to the L in the second S's? Yeah, good traction again. It's very close. This is. This is literally whoever gets the nice traction out of the last corners.
So now going on to the stadium section, but it does look like I think it could be even more close. As Finn Doggy Dog does crash out, but he has done.
Oh, Brown!
Oh, Brown has spun it.
Brown lost it, but I think he was just pushing too much. Unlucky on Brown's path.
I think Finn Doggy Dog will be getting the points because he has completed 95% of the race.
Yep, so he gets 7th. Nice, we're seeing
So we'll be getting 7th place. Meanwhile, Sonogo will be taking third place, so he will be securing a Renault 2-3.
Yeah, but he nearly got 2nd if Brown spun out a bit more, but he'd be happy with third. And also driving the day. Who wouldn't be happy with that? Podium and the driving the day. It's a lovely feeling to have. But my question is, who's going to get 4th? Will it be a Force India or will it be a Red Bull? As you see, Brandon goes across the line and then Squiddy goes across the line and he got
Squiddy goes 5th. Oh, and it does look like Squiddy has a bit of a finger waggle towards Brandon by the looks of it.
Yeah. But
I think that was because of the contact on turn 5.
Yep. But it also popped up saying that his stop go penalty was unserved. So that'd be 5 seconds added on.
Unserved stop go. Yeah.
Wow.
Mind you, my stop go was unserved as well at Japan, if I can remember. But oh well. So there we have it for Aaron Dazzler. Getting another win under his belt.
Everybody had a time penalty, at least. Well.
At least one time penalty. But, well, at least they survived. It was a bit unfortunate from the 3 other drivers. So there we have it for GP 1.1. Aaron Dazzler takes the win and it does extend points just only slightly. As P1R Brown takes 2nd place and Sonogo, Brown's teammate, is taking 3rd. And a very good strong performance from the 2 Renault teams, while 2 Renault drivers as well. Brandon from 5th has now finished in 4th. I think he will be a little bit disappointed. He should have been finishing a little bit higher, but I think he will be quite happy with Squiddy. Will be finishing in 5th after starting in 3rd and losing 2 places, and then the controversy between Brandon and Squiddy on approach of turn 5. I don't think he'll be very happy with that performance, and I think we're having some strong words with some of the stewards. Anyway, we do have our top 3 drivers in for the interview. And we'll be starting off with Aaron Dazzler again with another victory.
Yep.
From you there. I'm guessing that you wasn't much hoping for rain in the race, but in the mindset, it looks like there wasn't that much of a difference, and the pace was almost exactly the same.
I don't mind rain. It's alright. do alright in it, but the pace seemed okay in dry and wet. So it was, well, yeah, it was pretty okay. The race was a bit, strange because Squiddy in P3, with his medium traction, he was going to send one at turn one.
Yeah.
And he did. And then he was going for some pretty crazy moves from nowhere for a few laps, and then kind of got into the rhythm, and me and Brown both pulled away. And then
Yeah, it did actually look like that Squiddy, I think at one point at lap 4, Squiddy was losing the time that he gained to try and chase you down because of his rears, like complete, like
no, well,
overheated.
he doesn't understand really like the racecraft. He just kind of pushes to the limit constantly, which you just can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Like how late he was braking on the first few laps was ridiculous. I don't know what he was trying to attempt.
Yeah.
He just cooked his tyres.
I'll hand it over to you, Owen, if you want to give us a question for Aaron Dazzler.
I have a couple. In that race, did you think that that Brown was actually going to catch up and probably take first from you?
Possibly, because I don't know if you noticed in that middle sector, I was having a bit of a mess every lap. I was okay in the other two sectors, but he was catching me in the middle sector every lap. But it wasn't really too much of an issue because we were both just in the party, kind of like working together. Not that that went well. The lap we pitted for some fresh inters, and the next lap it dried out. Didn't want to take any risks because the inters burned up pretty quickly because it was drying, so we thought we'd pit for another set. And then the lap later, DRS is enabled and it's still raining. We were like, what? It's a bit of a strange race.
Right,
Don't know how this stops with the three.
It's one of the two tracks in the F1 calendar that can burn the intermediates quite significantly.
I suppose
Then
every
the other
track.
one's Germany.
Well, inters are always going to burn when it's changing conditions.
Yeah,
No matter
especially
what
when it's
track
like the crossover point from light rain to dry.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was
There's
playing
a lot of
dirt
standing
rally that
water.
whole game. I was just drifting around for fun.
Yeah, we could definitely tell that. Sure.
I think you also said, Owen, that you have one last question.
Yeah, with the title now being very close, do you think you're gonna hold it off? Well, not hold it off. Win the trophy at Brazil, or do you think it's gonna be that close that it's gonna take one more race to win it?
Do I get a trophy?
Well, the title.
Well,
Oh,
an
well.
imaginary trophy.
Maybe next season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Possibly, Don't really mind just kind of racing this for fun, but I suppose, like, obviously a championship's always good, but shouldn't be asking me if I'm going to win. Should ask Squiddy. He's the deciding factor, whether he's going to take me out or not.
Well, you never know. But anyway, congratulations to you, Aaron Dazzler, on the win at Mexico. As we now go on to second place of P1R Brown. Again, like Aaron Dazzler, pace seems to be there. There was at one point at the end of the short qualifying that you improved your time by half a second, but it was invalid. I bet that must be like a kick in the stomach on when that happened. Yeah. But overall in the race, it did appear that the pace was consistent on your behalf, especially in the second sector, like what Aaron Dazzler said. So it's kind of like a bit of a yo-yo throughout every single lap. Yeah. Owen, any other questions to Brad?
Not what I have one, and that's what really happened on the last corner on the last lap, because he looked like he was spun it a little bit. Mm. Mm-hmm.
I think when we saw that, I think me and Owen was confused of what happened, really. But nonetheless, congratulations to you, P1R Brad, for securing second place. That's Mexico. As we are now going to the other Renault driver of third place, which is Sonogo. It did appear that in the short qualifying that you were struggling a little bit on trying to set a time, but you did manage to get a time that was quite competitive.
Yeah, I proper struggled trying to get a clean lap in, but yeah, it was different starting from P7, not gonna lie.
Did you think that you was going to be getting the traction when it was the at the start of the race,
Well,
or
start
was it
racing
really
go very well
slipstream?
because the two Williams managed to overtake me, so yeah, it wasn't the best start in the world.
But it did look like that halfway as the race went on, it did look like that your pace started to kick in. I think it was on the first pit stop.
Yeah, like I did no practice for this race at all. I think I did one time trial lap, that was it. So I just got used to it halfway through and started picking up.
But overall, you did actually. I think you had one little bit of a moment with Tricks. It was the battle for third. We literally had no idea what happened between
Yeah,
the two of you.
he had a lag spike and just went straight into the wall. I was like 10 meters behind him.
Owen, any other questions?
No questions.
Okay. Anyway, congratulations to you, Sonogo, for securing third place.
Thank you very
And
much.
not only that, as we also forward on to the driver of the day, you as well, Sonogo, has got driver of the day as well.
Oh,
So
cheers.
congratulations with that as well. I'm just waiting for Aaron Dazzler to say something up until this point.
Yeah, to be fair.
Well, I think of it at first glance, there was one.
Oh God, here we go.
Oh God.
Anyway.
Well, I think I'll say one reason. It was just. I'll say it's just controversy. I think Mexico's has got. Anyway. But congratulations to you, Sonogo, to get driver of the day. And that is it for 1.1. As always, tomorrow will be GP3 and GP2, and Sunday is GP1. That's Mexico as well. Meanwhile, for 1.1, next week we'll be going a little bit more south to Brazil for the Brazilian Grand Prix. and also what could possibly be the title decider.
We don't know.
Don't particularly know yet because the points haven't been updated, which is a bit of a shame. Before USA, it was 10 points.
Still up for grabs. Anyhow, Phil, let's end it.
But anyway, it will be possibly the title decider. Well, no, we absolutely have no clue of how that's going to end. But anyway, tune in next week, obviously, for 1.1 for the Brazilian Grand Prix. This